Howdy do, everybody. Welcome to Variety Conversation. I am Lady Walker. This could be one of those stories where it's so funny I forgot to laugh, or if it wasn't so pretty or ridiculous, I would be so dumbfounded. How about this one? What were you thinking, Rev? What made you think this was a good idea, Rev? Didn't you see that wrong was written all over this before you did it, Rev? Y'all, the things people will do to satisfy their sexual craving, sexual fantasy, their sexual whatever, can be a la mind-boggling. So, what happened was, a 37-year-old Louisiana priest, Reverend Travis Clark, and two dominatrices, 41-year-old Mindy Dixon and 23-year-old Melissa Cheng, also referred to as, wait for it, altar servers, were arrested for obscenity charges because they were in view of the public. Yep. They were arrested because they were in view of the public, which means they were having sex. And because someone from the outside looking in saw what was happening. On September the 30th, just before 11 p.m., an unidentified passerby saw lights on inside Saints Peter and Paul Roman Catholic Church in Pearl River at an unusual time. He looked through windows and glass doors and witnessed the half-naked priest having sex with two women who were dressed in corset and high-heel boots. The altar was also adorned with stage lighting, several sex toys, and a cell phone mounted on a tripod that was recording the act. The witness took video footage of the unholy trinity being called police. The women reportedly told cops they were at the church to film role play with the priest. Cops determined everything that went on that night was consensual, but arrest the trio on the obscenity charges because they were in view of the public. Dixon, an adult film actress, also works for hire as a dominatrix, had posted on social media a day prior that she was traveling to the New Orleans area to meet up with another dominatrix to defile. You heard me. To defile a house of God. Oh, my word. She sounds like a devil's agent. Clark, who was ordained in 2013, had recently been named chaplain of Pope John Paul II High School in Slidell, in addition to his duties at Saints Peter and Paul. According to Archbishop Gregory Ayman, Clark has been removed and will never serve again in Catholic ministry. Days after Clark's arrest, Ayman went to Saints Peter and Paul and performed a ritual to restore the altar's sanctity. Now, there is another story contrary to this story that says the person called the police to the church. Officers arrived to see two women clad in corsets and high-heel boots by the altar, with lights set up around them as if they were filming some type of event. Clark wasn't on the altar, but an officer who knew Clark to be the church's pastor tried to call him on the phone. Police then ordered the women to let them inside, and in addition to the lights, noticed a mobile phone as well as a camera, each mounted on a tripod. The women reportedly told police they were there with Clark's permission and were recording themselves in role play. Yeah, right. You're recording y'all two, the two women, just y'all two recording yourselves in role play. Clark soon arrived. Get this. Clark soon arrived at the church and reportedly gave a similar account to the police, describing Cheng and Dixon as his guests and friends. Police wrote in documents filed in court. Now, that's the second story contrary to the first story, because the first story said that he was there, okay? And the second story said that he was not there, okay? Anyway, I am going to go with what? The former. I believe he was there from the get-go getting his jolly on period. But you know what? I did read a little bit about dominatrix, that sometimes it's not always sexual penetration and all of that, but they do some kinky stuff, okay? But I am not going to go into any of that, not just yet. But it's all about sex. It's all about sex. Now, the $5 question is, why the church? Why at the altar? Why not in the back of the church? Why the church at all? That's one heck of a fetish, sexual fantasy, kinky sexual fantasy to be performing at the altar of the church. And it is not worth putting your career and integrity on the line and jeopardizing your standing with God as a priest. There's a saying, it takes a lifetime to build a reputation and a second to destroy it. Oh my word. You got to stay away from the porn as a priest. It will eventually draw you into its web, especially if you are not a married priest. And as a single priest who are not to be married after ordination, which means you are to remain without a sexual partner, which means you are to remain celibate. But the porn, it will get you all the time. Oh my word. Anyway, feel free to express your perspective on the fetishness of the situation. And in the meantime, beloved, y'all come back to visit me when you can. Okie doke. Ta-ta.